Hi, beautiful star beings of light. It's Tiffany here. And today I felt a strong push by my guides to come forward and share some of the energy updates and messages and downloads that I have been experiencing. And I know a lot of us is experiencing it at the same time. And sometimes there can be some confusion. So I wanted to come on live to just share these important messages and downloads that I have received. And it's very, 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 very important for us right now, because I feel that these messages might help you gain inspiration, get confirmation, or help you with the next step of your spiritual growth. Hi, Antonio. And so in this video, there will be a few messages. Usually in my recorded video, I talk more about one topic, but today is just quite a few things that I needed to share today. So I might go all over the map, so just bear with me, but it's so mind-blowing what's going on right now. Hi, Elizabeth. Hi, Marta. Thank you for tuning in. So first thing first, what I have been receiving a lot about energetic downloads is we are in the middle of a time nexus. This is so important to all of us, light workers, starseeds, earth angels, however we want to label ourselves, who's here to be in service to others. We are in this great nexus point where many timelines are fluctuating. Some timelines are converging, some timelines are diverging. So that's why a lot of you right now, some of you are feeling tired, others are feeling more ascension symptoms, and others are feeling like you're in and out of your body, or that you're just here but not fully here. And that's the effect of these timelines. Now, in the past weekend, it was insane for me. I had to heal deep healing of the old timelines. So we are giving this opportunity right now to clear these lower density timeline. Now, with timeline, we have to understand this planet and this universe was first created based on benevolent light. It was supposed to be light. All the timeline has already happened. But somewhere, I don't know how to describe it, somewhere in the timeline, some of you might know it as AI, some of you might know it as a dark force, tear through the fabric of time and space and infiltrated our timeline. And so this is why some of you will remember your Egyptian timeline as a very high vibrational timeline, thriving, beautiful, a galactic center of learning and wisdom. And then some of you will remember an Egypt that is low density, where the priest in the more recent times of Egypt was infiltrating the original pure teachings. And so there's also some people that work with what they remember Queen Nefertiti being a positive being. Other people remember from the Akash as she has been infiltrated by the reptilians or the Orion Draconian Empire. So there's a multiple timeline that is happening right now. And in the age of Aquarius, and this is thanks to one of my friends, who confirmed a lot of the things I also channel, is that we are facing, right, the age of Leo, which is what Atlantis was. So we are at this nexus point, given such an important opportunity right now to heal these old infiltrated timeline, so that we're no longer stuck in a time loop, so that we can spin ourselves out back to the original timeline of Earth. And this is why all of you guys right now are feeling, oh my God, why is there all these old things coming up? Why do I need to sleep a lot? Why do I feel like I'm going in and out of bodies kind of often? Is because we are in this nexus point right now. This also means you will regain your Akashic remembrance quite easily, and you will feel the effect of your parallel selves, right? Because when these timelines converge together, I remember a few weeks ago, I was crying and crying for no reason. Like my life is going really well, and all of a sudden I would just start crying out of grief and sadness, like I've lost someone. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? Why am I tearing out of nowhere? Those are the parallel timelines, and you feeling into your parallel selves and feeling the effect of this. Now, this is going to go a little bit all over the place, so stay with me. The timelines right now, if you want to think about Earth, right, just what is happening right now in the US, the fire, the disclosure, the whole mess that is going on right now with this whole purging and the shift is happening on the higher realm too. A lot of the angels, archangels, elementals, celestial, Elohims, light beings, they are also busy like fighting off this darkness. So is the inner Earth. Right, these parallel realms. The inner Earth is also nuts right now. That's why one of my inner Earth guys shut off communication with me. Like I could not reach him. And that's because he's busy on his mission. This is also due to because Telos was infiltrated by the dark. There were also planets on the Pleiades that were infiltrated by the dark. And I've mentioned before about the Lyran Wars. A lot of you guys are being called a few weeks back to heal Lyran War wounds. When you were in Lyra, when you were on Mintaka, when the Draconian Empire infiltrated, it was such a devastating time for the Lyrans. Your beautiful planets, or our beautiful planets, were destroyed. We were forced to leave Lyra. We were forced to settle in the Pleiades. The Lyrans terraform the Pleiades. And that's why the Pleiades are so connected to the Lyrans and so forth. So there is a whole lot of timeline healing right now. It's so crazy, guys. Like, I'm like, what is going on, guys? On top of that, your galactic self, like your starseed self, is also going through this other timeline. So I'll give you an example. Some of us, you might remember with some remembrance, your soul family or your starseed family beaming your light body up. I don't know how they do this, but this is what I'm shown. So when you ask me about technologies of quantum physics, I have no idea. This is just what I'm shown. Some of you guys starseeds that are here, and you know who you are. You are here for a very, very important mission and time. They beam you up onto their ship, your light body, and they give you healing. So this form of healing that I'm seeing through my clairvoyance is not even fully physical. Maybe with some of you are physical, but for me, it was more like a quantum and light body. And they guide you in. And I was working with one of my clients, and she was getting psychically attacked. So there's another thing that's coming up with light workers. Please, please, please protect yourself. The dark is going nuts right now because they're losing their powers. They need their food to feed. They will feed on negative emotions. They will feed on your light. So you have to always invoke protection. And your guides, and from what I have been learning with Archangel Michael, I'm like, well, Archangel Michael, I don't really want to bother you all the time. The angels are like, no, you guys are not bothering at all. We are here to help, and you never bother. So then I just invoke whenever I'm doing a session, whenever I go to sleep, especially because I go astral traveling and I sometimes forget to protect my physical body. And some of you that are listening, you're probably here because some part of this video will help you. So before I go to bed, I would just invoke a protection from Archangel Michael. And I say something like, dear Archangel Michael, I love you, I honor you. Please protect my physical vehicle during my sleep. My soul, my heart, my energy body, my light body, my emotional and mental bodies. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so that's what I visualize. Some of you can also visualize infinity symbol swirling in your body, or you can see yourself as a very, very bright light. Yeah, protection is very important. What I was shown also, okay, I'll try to stay on course. So ships, you guys are being beamed on the ship with your soul family, and they're helping you as much as they can. But there's also a whole mess going up there right now. The dark is getting so desperate, and I was crying randomly because some of the ships are being destroyed. There's actually lives being sacrificed right now at this time. This is a spiritual informational war that we're going through. They try to get to its hybrid children. So they're not only just going after our children, hashtag save our children, they're going after the hybrid children as well. So at this time, it's crazy. And it really brings me such love when I realize some of us I don't know who, but some of you do, have hybrid children that are locked in a time temporal space. And I just feel so much compassion for the hybrid children, because a lot of them know who their parents are, but the parents have no memories, or they cannot remember their hybrid children. And the hybrid children are trying so hard to protect their parents. And I just put myself in the hybrid children's shoes, and I'm like, oh my goodness, can you imagine? You know who your parents are, but they have absolutely no remembrance of who you are. They may even be scared of you because you look different than normal humans. But all you're trying to do is to protect them. I'm like, oh my God, this is such beautiful, beautiful beings. So, hybrid children, and they are so important, and the reason why the dark wants to either, kill them or to capture them is because they have such high psychic abilities. And part of one agenda, where every factions have an agenda, is to first introduce the hybrid children, because the hybrid children looks more closely with humans, and the hybrid children are more pure. So it's easier for us to disclose ET presence on Earth through the hybrid children. Right? Most people love children, and if they look somewhat like us, then we are more acceptive to the hybrid children. So that's why there's this whole war going on right now, and inner Earth is trying to take back, tell us it's crazy. So yeah, these are all the timeline convergence that are happening. Now, the other thing that I was also shown and I want to mention is the Emerald Codes. So throughout these past 2 weeks, all I have been receiving, and some of the client sessions, are all I see is Emerald Light Codes. I'm like, what is going on? Why is this Emerald Light Code so strong? The Emerald Light Codes carry light codes, wisdom, and energy consciousness from the Atlantean times. So when Atlantis fell in that lower timeline, some of us were there. We were there in our past life self. There were 2 crystalline columns that I remember very clearly. They were destroyed. There were large chunks of this crystalline column in Atlantis columns that fragment, and some of them it was like a big explosion. There were pieces that were crumbling. There were smaller pieces that fracture off the crystalline columns. And what had happened then is the spiritual beings knew of that in Atlantis. And so to hold this Atlantean energy, and back then, because of these crystalline columns and how Atlantis was built, it was very high consciousness space. Everything manifests a lot easier. We were higher vibrational. We have advanced abilities. So some light workers were there. And through their pure body, through their pure consciousness to help, each of them have a piece of these emerald light codes in their crystalline body, in their crystalline DNA. And that's why some of you are here now, because you are carrying these codes. You are like that crystal column that crumbled, but all the energy, all the wisdom that were in this crystalline column as part of the Atlantean consciousness is like each of us has a piece of the puzzles. And that's why some of you grid workers out there, or those of you that are calls to the emerald light codes, live on ley lines. For that very reason, is to help heal the ley lines and the grid lines of Mother Earth, and to help us shift back into that high vibrational state. So if you are meditating and you receive visions of emerald light, that's your higher self or your guides channeling these emerald light codes to you. A lot of you might also see in your auric field emerald light codes as well. So that's the importance of the emerald light codes. When you receive the codes, some of you will already know to send it and replicate it down to the grid line. Some of you will naturally know how to use this emerald light codes to heal yourself. Some of you will also, through these emerald light codes, begin to remember your Atlantean self And I've talked about this in another video a few weeks back, Atlantean Lemurian lifetime healing. That's the significance of that, because we witness the crumbling of those crystalline columns, and it brings our soul this trauma. That's also why the dark made 9/11 happen, the Twin Tower, because they knew of this and they don't want us to shift the timeline back to where we were. And so they created 9/11 not only because of the financial stuff, if you go into the rabbit hole, but on the spiritual and energetic imprint of 9/11 reminds our soul trauma of Atlantis when those crystalline columns crumbled. And that's why they blew up the building to simulate what happened in Atlantis. And then it invokes and triggers our soul's trauma because they want us to be in this lower fear vibration. And 9/11, right? If you really look into it, it has to do with affecting the collective consciousness, which is what they did towards the fall of Atlantis. That's the significance of it right now, and this is why they chose 9/11 the date. Now we are here to heal the Atlantean timeline. So some of you might be being called to do Akashic readings, so you might just be meditating, be shown energy signatures that will carry through from your Atlantean lifetime into this present self, so you can heal and release it. Some of you were there when the waves came, some of you were not. Yeah, right? You were just watching from above to below. But all of us carry this energy signature of the Atlantean healing, Atlantean wound. That's why we have to heal it. The other message that came through very strong for me is the Emerald Tablet. The Emerald Tablet, I started reading it, I think, last year. And I kind of stopped a little bit, different energies come forth. But the Emerald Light codes are here, guys. The Emerald City, it's here. We're here to bring back these light codes to re-establish that lifetime. And so I recommend you guys to Google Emerald Tablets and read it. And from what I've channeled from Tahuti, which is what I call Thoth, I think that the pronunciation Tahuti gives me more of an energetic resonance. And that's, I believe, how his name was pronounced. And so that's how I call him. He's a master of light, and he told me, in short, the Emerald Tablet is a multi-dimensional vehicle that transports your consciousness to receive the message, the wavelength and frequency most appropriate at this time. So I remember going into the halls of Amante and seeing the Emerald Tablet, and every time I read it, it gives me a different remembrance. Every time when I see the symbols and the Emerald Tablet gives me a different message that I need to receive. So it's not just like a book where we read the book and it's like a linear 3 message where we only get 1 message. This is like a multi-dimensional tablet that your soul's frequency tune into the Emerald Tablet and gain what you need to gain in that moment. So it's like a multi-dimensional technology that Tahuti, he left behind for us for this time. One of the most interesting thing that they were showing me this week is in tablet number 6, where he taught us a very simple banishing ritual. Is where you can do the simple invocation to clear out entities or negative thoughts from your vibrational field. And I have been doing it myself as well to clear out energies, to clear out any heaviness in my energy body. And it really does help. You can shift the wording a little bit, like some of the names I'm like, I haven't tuned in fully in the frequency yet, but I just use words such as in the name of the divine, in the name of Archangel Michael, I now banish all darkness within my field and my mind. I am filled with light. I'm filled with life force energy. Emerald Tablet number 6 talks about that. So that's what, wow, I need to like slow down. There was a lot of speaking. What I have been receiving in these last few days. So I hope that whatever I'm channeling kind of help you, maybe, you know, in your own daily life or inspire you. I'm simply here to share my experience, and hopefully one piece of it will help you. I would love to, let's see if there's any questions, any interesting, you guys, any questions? Oh, why are these draconian reptilians so desperate for our energy? So the draconian Orion Empire is very ancient. It started like way, way before Earth. So they are quite a large empire. They love to dominate. They love to control other planets and systems. That's more like the service to self perspective. And so they want our energy because they want slaves. They want people to work for them. They want people to enslave, to mine for them. They have outposts in Mars and on the moon and who knows where else. They're quite vast actually. So they are here. And there's a whole complicated galactic history. There was like the Draconians, and then the Anunnaki was here too, fighting for this planet, and the Arcturians was trying to be here to save the planet with the Galactic Federation of Worlds and the Pleiadians. It's so complicated. And I believe it's because they feel disconnected from source, and they feel like the only way to gain energy is from gaining it from other beings that have it. They also, the other thing, the wildfires, I was shown that with the wildfires, they were doing some type of dark magic spells. And I believe in this stuff. I used to not, because I'm like, well, who has the time to do these things, man? Until I started working and seeing it myself. I was helping someone release, and then sitting outside because it was so heavy and bugs started dying around me. I'm like, holy crap, like this stuff is real. Like this dark magic stuff is gross. So I was shown that they were doing some dark magic. What they like to do is they work with the actual reptilians, and they tear through like time space, and they open portals for lower astral beings to come into this realm. And so if you live close to the fire, just make sure you do more cleansing, make sure you do more protection, because they actually are creating all these chaos right now, not only physically, but in the spiritual sense. Now the archangels are helping us. I also see the Galactic Council of Worlds, the Arcturians, the Pleiadians, and other benevolent beings have been helping us clear some of these energies. So when you get angry or frustrated that we are not being helped, we're actually being helped more than we think. Any book recommendations? Oh, which one? For the Emerald Tablets or the Hybrid Beings? Or I don't know, kind of lost track. I do train healers, but more like just helping them remember their own gifts. Like I don't do anything, I'm just a messenger. But yes, I do have courses, and I have a school, High Priestess Ascension Academy. Do you have any book on which topic? Let me know, Jonas. Do you see an end? Transition to higher frequency? Well, I'm pretty sure most of us are already in 4D. What I'm feeling was I was channeling, and my guides gave me the dates. I believe it was September 17th or 18th to September 28th. And this is the timeline where we are in this nexus point. This nexus point is kind of like a launch towards the next while of our timeline. That's why I'm here sharing this message. We need to be more positive. We need to really clear out the old timelines so that during this portal, this nexus, when we're being pulled in, words and outwards with our guides, we cleanse ourselves. And through this portal, it propels us forward in the timeline to where we want to go. So when you understand timeline, you can see it more like wires. There's collective wires, right? And then there's like your own individual wire. And the wire has different threads with different timelines. So that's why the future is so hard to predict, because of these timeline fluctuations. But I'm the type that kind of focus on the good, like visualizing the good outcome. So that's what I am hoping. There are, I don't know, what do you guys think about conspiracy theory? In a way, I feel some of them are true. There's also a lot of misinformation as well. And I think at the end of the day, as long as we are activated, as long as we are standing for our sovereignty and unity consciousness, then we are doing what we're here to do. So I don't really get too much into the conspiracy theory, because I see them attacking each other. I'm like, well, I don't think we need this energy. Like, aren't we supposed to bring in light? Yes, have no fear. That's what they want us to feel. But I feel that we'll be okay. From what I feel from the galactic, they are all here. But you see, we have to ask for help. And that's why every day I'm like, all right, mothership, soul family, galactic council of light, please come and help us. Earth needs all the help that we can get. We need all the light, all the love, all the support and assistance. So please come. The more of us that ask for help, the more that we reach the tipping point in which they can come and help. So that's kind of what I do. I just like anchor the light and help ask, and just prayers, and it helps, I feel. Awesome. Yeah, so that was like what I wanted to share today. So in short, right, try to understand timeline. If you want to understand timeline more in details, you can watch some of Magenta Pixie's video. She explains with the angelic realm how timeline works very well. And she's really the only one that I kind of watch videos from, because the way she conveys timelines and messages is very well spoken, very understandable. So if you want to understand timeline, I know she writes books as well, but she does a lot of free videos on YouTube. So that's one. Hybrid children, I think I would do more channeling and information and videos on the hybrid children. The ships as well, but they're really keeping it hush-hush, you know? So it's like the Starseed community pretty much only know about it. The Emerald Light Codes as well is very sacred, very important at this time. So work with the Emerald energy when you're doing your own meditation. Really see that emerald, beautiful, bright, bright light radiating from your heart to all around you. And then just doing your inner healing. And if you want more like an activation, read the Emerald Tablet. You can even just look at the picture itself and just see it, just attune and meditate with the picture of the tablet. You will receive things every time you read it. It's very interesting. It's like a portal. I don't know how that works, but it's like a portal that you tune in and you receive what you need to get. Hi, Mahal. So question, yes, speaking of dragons, a lot of dragons have returned, especially the legendary dragons. And oh guys, I made like this video, which I'm gonna like edit and put out in a few weeks or so, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, talking about dragons, the ranking of the dragons, what are the dragons like, their groups and your guides. So much to learn. Like, it's never enough to make like a 10-minute videos on it. So a lot of you guys are reconnecting with your dragon energy or your dragon guides. A lot of people confuse the draconians, reptilians, to dragons. They are two different things. The dragons, your guides, your elementals, your celestial dragons, and even some angelic beings look like a dragon, like being like the seraphims look like dragons with feathers, and they are here to help us cleanse some of these energies. So if you see a dragon, or if you are being told that there's some energy of the dragon arising, it's time, guys, time to spread those wings and be strong and radiate light. I have heard of Abraham Hicks' teachings. Sometimes I listen to her. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, quite a few of us are seeing emeralds, emerald tablet, very important activation. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of misinfo they're going to release. The dark is trying to like, oh, let's pose a fake alien invasion. Other times they have these narratives that's not really the complete truth, to still kind of work in their favor. So it's important for us truth seekers and light workers to hold these truths and know that, you know, there's a larger picture. For example, not all beings that look like reptilians are bad. Some of us actually have lifetimes on Mintaka, and on Mintaka, there's quite a lot of reptile DNA. There's a lot of aquatic beings, and some of the aquatic beings were chased out by the Draconian Empire. So it's very difficult, you know, and messy when you come into this realm. That's why we're not quite ready on the collective, because we can't even get along in the planet. How are we gonna, you know, get along with the outer realm? So that's why you're here, Starseeds. You guys are the envoys. You guys are the messengers, the anchor of light, the truth seeker. Cool. Any other questions, guys? Any things that I can help you with, or... Amazing. Yeah, because they look similar. So the royal draconians actually look very similar to dragons. They have the wings, they have the claws, they have that scale on their body, and it's something that you don't want to mess with. But there's actually real benevolent dragons, and dragons that have been killed and slayed for protecting their eggs, for protecting their young. Like the dragons themselves in another era has suffered too, right? And not all Pleiadian looking aliens are all good. They are Nordics looking aliens that work with the other side. And grays, there are hundreds of species of grays. Some of them are good, some of them are not. Same thing with mantids. So it's important for us to really stay grounded as starseeds so we can learn how to discern. And it's important for us to have our groundedness so that we can see, right, and be able to decipher the energy that we work with. Blue rays. Yes, so all of you guys here, right, your soul imprint, your soul template radiates different codes, and it's like a rainbow. You have the indigo ray, the blue ray, the crystals, the rainbows, the magentas, the diamonds, the emeralds. The emerald children are big time carriers of Atlantean light codes. The crystalline children as well. We all come here with an access to a certain spectrum of light. Some of you are more mixture, like I'm more Blu-ray, but sometimes I can go into the indigo light. So it's like a spectrum of light that you radiate. And so all of us here carry certain light codes to help raise the frequency of Earth. Crystals, for example, right? They bring forth more like the angelic light codes for cleansing. So they are very empathic and they are highly, highly, highly sensitive. Blue rays, right, are more the alchemists, the transformers. And so the blue rays innately know how to transform things very easily. Oh, here's a dark cloud, transformed. The indigos are more like the leader ones, right? They're like, okay, this system does not work. Let's cleanse this. Let's make a system. Let's get more hands-on. So we each bring a certain talent into our realm as well. I've got a question recently also about why some of my guides are more quiet lately. It's because of this timeline fluctuation. So once we get grounded into our timeline, it will be easier to connect again. And they're all very busy. Like there's this whole cleansing happening in different layers of this realm. So multidimensional is through your soul, your connection to your other selves. So some people call it past selves, your parallel selves, your future selves. So these are like multidimensional selves, which can include your angelic aspects. It can include your celestial aspects, your Elohim aspects, your elemental aspects. So tuning into the higher energies, I think I did a lot of shadow work because I struggle with depression and anxiety a lot and just had to purge and heal quite a lot of the wounds that I was carrying. And once I did that, it's like a fog. Like it's like, oh, here's one layer of shadow. Oh, here's one layer of daddy issues. Here's one layer of sexual trauma. And once all the layers started to go, you feel lighter and then you can see the light much easier. So I did that. And some healers that I work with and I train, they ask me how I started. And I'm like, well, I started with shadow work, healing myself. And then I learned Reiki. And then I learned, I learned Reiki first. Then I learned shadow work. Then I started to learn how to heal past life through channeling. Then I started to tune into the galactic realm. So I had like this whole foundation placed by my higher self to progress. So trust in your journey wherever you are at this time is helping you awaken some of your remembrance. And there are things that you know that I don't know. You hold a certain key codes or a specific memory of a timeline that I may not have. So it's important for us to come out and to share, right, with each other so we can place these puzzle of pieces of the puzzles together. With life purpose, so there's actually a lot of ways you can tune into life purpose, Jonas. And one way that really helped me was doing inner child work because I've forgotten about my inner child. Poor Tiffany, I just like rejected her when I was depressed. I'm like, she's so annoying. She was traumatized and dirty. I don't want to talk to her. But through like inner child work, I started to embrace her, heal her, which is a part of our multidimensional selves. And I was able to remember that when I was young, I loved teaching. I would just teach like stuffed animals, and I totally forgot about that. So you can do inner child work to reattune to your younger selves and see, well, when we first came here, what was I really interested to do? That's one way. The other way is you can access your Akashic records and to see, okay, what are some talents that I have accumulated in my other lifetimes that I can use. Now, a lot of you guys are old souls, right? You might not be all souls on Earth, but you have a lot of lifetime in other galactic system. So you're going to have many, many talents. This is where we're going to go. We're not going to be stuck in a 9-to-5 job for 50-something years. We're going to go into a new earth where it's going to be very integrative. Each person, each star seed is going to have an integrative way of living instead of this very linear, systematic way of existence. So yeah, Akashic reading or like inner child would really help me. So maybe that will help you too. Now, working with the dragons, okay, the dragons are like higher realm beings, right? They are quite serious. So make sure that you are ready. When you're ready to work with dragons, you be very respectful. Don't ask them questions like when I'm going to win the lottery or when I'm going to like buy a house. They're not very concerned about these questions because in their perspective, it doesn't matter. But if you want to ask them to teach you how to do energy healing, how to do like breath work, how to strengthen yourself as a spiritual being, they are so happy to help you with that. How can you connect with your future self? So you can do this through like channeling. There's a lot of meditations, and I think I have a meditation. I'm not sure. But yeah, there's meditations that you can do. I also have a course that teaches you how to activate your future selves. But we start with the protection first. So in Module 1, first thing, guys, protection, armor of God, and golden column of light. You need to turn on your protection. And you want to do like an invocation to connect with source, connect with your higher self, and from there start to receive messages. There's a few ways to do it. Sometimes I just channel and let whatever comes through my clear channels. Other times I project an astral travel into my Akashic halls and then gain information that way. But if you're a beginner, it's better to receive rather than astral travel, because astral travel is more advanced. It takes more protection and takes more precaution. Although some people are very talented astral traveler, they already know how to protect themselves. Yeah, sacred geometry is wonderful. If you want to work on your third eye, Sri Yantra, when you meditate with Sri Yantra, it activates your third eye. There's a lot of reason for it. So our trauma is like a messenger. Trauma, like in the middle of it, is hard, right, guys? I totally understand. In the middle, you're like, why, God? Why are you punishing me? But afterwards, you realize, whoa, if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't have known this. I wouldn't be able to understand what other people are going through, wouldn't be able to relate to them and be compassionate to them. So I look at my trauma like they are messengers and just help me understand myself better. Mahul, if you're feeling stuck, you have to move your energy body, right? So you have to do cleansing. You have to use like Metatron's cube. Spin the Metatron's cube very fast in your auric field to spin out all those old energies. You want to become bright like a sun, like a star seed that glows and blossom. So that will help some of the stuckness like transmute and release. Use your breath, because you have a lot of dragon energy. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Some people get mad at me when I pick up energy from them and they're like, you're invading my privacy. I'm like, I'm sorry, I just feel it. So you have like good dragon energies. They can help you learn how to do energy healing. So yeah, work with the higher realms, guys. The ascended master realm, the angelic realm, they all here to help you. So that's a lot of support. But anyway, before I ramble on more, that's all I want to share for today's live. And I hope that it helps you and it helps your journey. I'm so excited to do more lives and to share more of these downloads that I get, because I know a lot of you guys feel the same thing too. So wishing you guys a beautiful and wonderful week ahead, and we will speak soon. Bye.